Hey class, we're just going to do some factoring review, the two types of factoring that we learned earlier. So the very first type of factoring we ever learned was common factoring, and that's what we're going to do with that first one. You can tell we have to do common factoring there because there's just so many different variables there. So to do common factoring, let's write that out first. Common factoring. You have to ask yourself, what's in common between all three of these different terms? So make sure you identify each different term and what's in common in terms of the coefficients first. So I take a look at the 3, the -9, and the positive 27. And the number that's a common divisor between all of them is a 3. And then I take a look and ask myself at the next variable here, all the x's. How many x's are in common between all three terms? So this one has 4, this has 3, this has 2, so they all have at least 2 2 x's. And then over here we have the y's, right? And here we have, how many y's are there? This one has 2 y's, this is 1 y, this is 3 y's. How many y's are there in common? There's going to be 1 y that they all have in common. And the last one is z's. This is a z, this one has no z, this has 2 z's. How many do they all have in common? All of them have, well, this one has 1, this has none, so they all have none in common. There's nothing in common between all three, so there's no z's in common. So that's, we take out what's in common here. We factor out what's in common. Now we divide it out. So if I divide this first term by this term, we do 3 divided by 3, which is going to be 1. X to the power 4 divided by x squared will be x squared. And we just subtract the exponents. Y squared divided by y will just have 1 y left over, and this term will still have a z. And so we've done the first term. Let's do the second term and divide this second term with the common divisor here, the factor term, I mean. So -9 divided by 3 will be -3. X to the power 3 divided by x squared will be just an x. Y divided by y will be 1. And I'm not going to put the 1 there because anything times 1 will be itself. So we're just going to leave it out there. And now we're going to do the last term, factor out the last term. So 27 divided by 3 will be 9. X squared divided by x squared will be 1. But I'm not going to do 9 times 1, it's just going to be 9. Y cubed divided by y will be y squared. And z squared divided by no z must still be z squared. And so we have now factored fully. We can check our work by multiplying it back out. So we've divided here. They're asking us to divide. Factoring involves dividing. To check, we can multiply it back out. So 3 times this, 3x squared times y will give me this. 3 times -3 will be giving me -9. X squared times x will give me x cubed. Y times nothing will give me y. And so that's correct. The last one, 3 times 9 will give me 27. X squared times nothing will give me x squared still. Y times y squared will give me y cubed. And z squared is there. So I know that this is the right answer. So we're done. So that's common factoring. The next type of factoring we learned was trinomial factoring. So there's 3 terms, and we know that this is going to be a product of 2 binomials because we can find out 2 numbers that multiply to 2x. So we're just guessing what the expanding portions were. So what 2 numbers multiply to 2x? I usually write them up over here, 2x and 1x. And there's only one combination here, so that's going to be 2x and 1x. And then over here, we're trying to guess the last term here that's going to multiply. So remember, we're guessing the first term, which is correct, 2x times x. And the last term is going to be this. The last term times this term will be, there's many different combinations. I always, generate them all. So 1 and 2 numbers that multiply 12 could be 1 and 12. So 1 and 12 could be here to give me that 12. It could be 2 and 6, and it could also be 3 and 4. And there's no other combination. So we start cross-multiplying here to determine what 2 numbers would give us the sum of 5. So it's going to sum to 5. So it's going to add to 5. So 2x times 12 will give me 12, 24x, and 1x. So 24x and 1x. That's going to, if I add them together, it gives me 25x or 23x. Neither of these end up giving me 5x, so that's not what we want. 2 times 6 will give me 12 and 2. So 12x and 2x, which is, again, going to give me 14x and 10x. If I add them together, it would be 14. Subtract them gives me 10x. Not what we want. do the last one. 2 times 4 will give me 8x. And 1x times 3 will give me 3x. If I add them together, it gives me 11x. If I subtract them together, it gives me 5x. And we have found what we wanted, a sum to 5. So we have found the combination. It is this combination. Sorry, shouldn't do this in blue. Should do this in pink. And this combination. We've already got our 2x and 1x, which is done. It's this 3 and 4 that we had to find. And we have to be sure about what we want here. Okay, so we want to get multiplied by negative 12. So one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Right? In order to multiply to a negative number, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. Now, this tells me that the bigger number has to be positive. So the bigger number, which is 8x, has to be positive. So positive 8x minus 3x gives me that positive 5x. So how do I get positive 8x? 2x times 4x. 2x times positive 4x. So that's going to have to 2x times positive 4x, which is going to be out here. 2x times positive 4x will be over here, positive 4x. I made a mistake here. And 1x times negative 3 will give me the minus 3. So that will be 8 minus 3 will be 5, which is exactly what we want. So again, I could check. I like to check to make sure and FOIL it out or expand it out using a rainbow. So 2x times 1x will give me 2x squared. 2x times positive 4x will give me 8x. Negative 3 times positive 1x will be minus 3x. And negative 3 times positive 4 will be minus 12. And we get 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, which is exactly what we wanted to begin with. So we've divided them. They basically asked us to find the area, and this is our length, and this is our width. All right, part C, minus 2x squared plus 8xy minus 8y squared. So we have to fully factor this. Remember to always check the first type of factoring we learned, which is common factoring. Is there anything in common between the first, second, and third term there? There's only one thing in common, is the coefficients. It's negative 2. So we're going to take out a negative 2 or a positive 2. Either one doesn't matter. So I'm going to take out a negative 2 because I like to have my first term not having a negative number there. So if I factor out a negative 2, what's left over is going to be an x squared. 8 divided by negative 2 will be minus 4xy. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 will be positive 4y squared. And what we do now is we leave this negative 2 on the outside and try to factor what's remaining, which is the trinomial, which is what we did over here in part B. What we're going to do is we're going to try to guess two numbers that multiply to x squared. What goes here and here to give me x squared? We already know the answer. It's going to be x, and there's only one combination. But I'm going to put it up here anyway, just in case. And over here, we have to generate possibilities for the last term here, last two terms here for each binomial. That's going to multiply to give me 4y squared. Well, it could be 1y times 4y, or 2y and 2y. Those are the only combinations of numbers that multiply to 4. 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. Okay, now it's about time to check which of them will give me a sum of negative 4xy. Similar to what we did here, you always take a look at that middle term, which is the key to figuring out what you want. So let's write this down. We need the sum to negative 4. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply until we figure out which one it is. So x times 4, so 1x times 4 will be minus 4xy. I'm write that over here. X times 1y will be 1xy, which will give me, if you add them together to like we did over here, be 5xy, or subtract them, it will be 3xy. And over here, it'd be x times 2y will be 2xy. X times 2y will be 2xy. Add them together gives you 4xy. Subtract them together gives you 0. And what we want is right there. This is the one that sums to negative 4, to a 4. We wanted a 4, like we stated over here, like we highlighted over here. This is the combination we want. So it's going to be 2y and 2y that we want. So we're going to write 2y and 2y. And now we have to figure out what the sign is. we know they have to multiply to a positive number, so it's either going to be both positive, because positive 2y times positive 2y will give me positive 4y squared, or both negative. Negative 2y times negative 2y will give me positive. And the key is here, they have to add to a negative number. So the two numbers that we're going to put in there are both negative. And you can check by expanding again. So x times x will give you x squared, x times negative 2xy will give you negative 2xy, another 2x, negative 2xy will give you negative 4xy, and negative 2 times negative 2 will give you positive 4y squared. And there you have it. We've reviewed common factoring and trinomial factoring. Okay? If you have any questions, see me on the Google chat or send me an email and I can get back to you.